is already going on, and that beating run seems to be another victory for them going into the fixture in the phase one of the ongoing season there. And I can tell you for sure that in a day 9 fixture in the women's category, we saw the defending champions, leading out in grand style. They were able to defeat experienced Imo Grasshoppers at 32-25 to keep them ahead of the pack on the league. In other results, we saw as the 2018 champion, Plateau Peacock, defeated the Coas Babes 30-20, while Rivers Queens cut off the Benden Dynamos with 21-20 points. Just 1 point victory over them there in that particular one. Defender Babes from Nigerian Civil Defense ended 32-29 victory over Rima Queens, while Seasider Babes of Lagos came back to winning ways following their 29-28 victory over Delta Queens. These are some of the results we have seen in the female scene, and of course it continues there. Imo Grasshoppers themselves, like we talked about some time ago, 2 days ago, it looks like they will continue to go on and on and on, and they're not also forgetting that Safety Babes will always hold on strongly, to ensure they move on with their winning streak, which is very important for them.
Yeah, I think for Safety Babe, they've actually shown that they're indeed one of the strongest teams to, play against in the Nigerian handball league here. They are doing pretty well, and they continue to maintain that they are unbeaten run so far in this tournament. I tell you, if they continue this way, maybe I might possibly say they stand in a very good position to also win this one, but then they still have a lot of hurdles to cross, because the likes of Peacock, the Plateau Peacock, they are a very strong side as well. Benden Dynamos is another strong side that they need to also contend with. Imo Grasshoppers, these are some of the, it's one of the traditional teams here in Africa, not just Nigeria. We know what they can do any day, anytime, so they are not pushovers as well. Not even forgetting our own Rivers Queen, who is also at least doing pretty well to ensure that at least they put themselves on the map. But I tell you, generally, it has been a very, very good competition so far. We haven't had any hitches, neither any breach of security and all of that, which is very, very key for such big, competition. So for me, I think for the Safety Babes, I hope they continue with this their impressive run, because if they do and they make champion to represent Nigeria in Africa, I think it's going to be a great hope for us, because they are doing pretty well. And I tell you, their coach was talking tough yesterday immediately after the game. I listened to his interviews. One man that truly knows his job and is at peace with the players out there, and that is what it means when you are a coach and you are able to carry your team as you have this father and son, or father and daughter relationship. It helps the coach as well to make the game very easy and remain very positive. So I think the coach as well of Safety Babes need to also be commended for the job that is doing so far. And for the male category, Toje Marine as well, they continue to fire, to blaze on. They continue their winning streak. They have played 7-1-7. This is their 8th game, and they've also won it. I think they are also in a very good position to dethrone Niger United as the defending champion. But then Niger United, as well, they are not doing pretty bad. And this is the kind of competition we expect to see, especially in the male category, where all of this team is going toe-to-toe against each other. But I tell you, for Toje Marine, has been an impressive start for them so far.
It's been an impressive start for them so far, and I tell you for sure that a lot is going on there in that handball league. Like you rightly said, in the men category, Toje Marine will continue to dominate, extending the lead on the table with a 22, just 2-point difference between them and Safety Shooters, while Roma Strikers defeated the Sunshine Queens 29-24. And this looks like a 5-point point difference there. And defending champion Niger United earned a very vital point there over Seasiders of Lagos as they aim to reclaim the lead of the league from Toje Marine Academy, while Correctional Boys comfortably smarted Adamawa Warriors 33-20 points. That is about 13-point difference. That seems to be the biggest one so far, point margin this year. There was a draw between Kano Pillars and Benue Buffaloes. And this also tells me, now if you look at what has happened, like I talked with Cosmos the other day, the media officer of handball, and one thing very striking is that we get to see more of the northern and the central, the top tier of the league. But like I said, it's lovely to get to see what is happening and getting to see the changes in the result. Today, the biggest score so far is that of I think that of Correctional Boys, and Toje Marine, which of course I think that it's mighty for me. Okay, yeah, Correctional Boys get comfortably beating Tatamawa Warriors and 13-point difference there. And this result for me, when I see 2-point difference for me, I just feel that okay, these are tight encounters, should have gone either way. But regardless, I think that the handball league is really living up to expectation, Mike.
Yeah, definitely it is actually living up to the expectation, and for me, I think I'm very, very impressed. This is no surprise because over the years we've seen this handball team as one of the teams that never lack sponsorship, and when you have good partners, also teaming up to sponsor such competition, you expect a high standard, for me. So I think it has been very great. Then again, talked about the fact that we need to nationalize this handball. And of course, do each state have a representative? Of course they do. It's just that, just like the media officer was talking to us the other day, he said that, they are more like League One and League Two, and some states who their own team are there haven't make it through to League One. They are still down in league because there have been an impeccable organization within the system, and this is what we want to see, not just in handball, but in other, sporting activities here in the country.
Of course, we want to see a proper organization and proper coordination of our league, and handball league seems to be the shining light, moving on gradually and getting their, planning well. And of course, it's been a top-notch 9 days of activities and, followership game since resumption of the season. And I can tell you that as the teams are not taking it easy at all to achieve glory. But this is the first phase. A lot still await, but it all depends on who are the top teams. And of course, Toje Marine, Safety Babes, they are pushing strongly, to achieve something, possibly in the second phase. We're still looking at some of the trending stories in the last 24 hours in sports, and from that now, let's move over to wheelchair. We had Team Lagos beat Oyo 43-33 to win the maiden edition of this year's wheelchair basketball league. And this is coming at the heel of the basketball Fantastic Four finals that was played at the indoor sports hall of the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja. And Lagos beat Oyo in the first quarter 15-13 with massive, huge point difference, a slim point difference there. But then it looks like they had a dominating factor when they came back in the second, third quarter to achieve this particular one. Lagos made use of the opportunity, and that ensured that they were able to get this particular one, to wrap up, the campaign or the trophy, lifting this particular one. For Lagos, it seems they are getting things right now. I mean, there are a lot of teams winning different competition, and you can also see that even Toje Marine also from Lagos, talk about in handball. For Lagos side, I think they are really motivated. Something good is really happening from that side. A lot of the teams doing so well in different competitions and different federations, and that should alleviate if you're a Lagos-based, sports follower, enthusiast in the country.
Definitely, I think Lagos State have been able to do the needful. I think the sport commissioner in the state out there is also trying in as much as possible to ensure that some of these sporting infiltration down there in the state is very effective, not just, behind closed door, but in terms of very, very effective in terms of taking part in one or two major competitions out there, and they are doing pretty well. Your Lagos State, these are the state when you talk about wheelchair, activity, they are always top-notch. They are always, a force to be reckoned with. Not also forgetting Ogun State as well in that order. I think they are doing pretty well in that regard. And for me, other states need to also take a cue from what Lagos State is doing, because you talk about sports in every area, in every facet. You will definitely find Lagos State, doing pretty well out there, and that is what it means for, a working system that allow, the sport ministry to do their job properly, and putting right people in the right position, you know, they also help in making the job even more easier. Like I said, the sport commissioner in the state, Lagos State, I think is one man who truly understands the workings of sport, and he's using his wealth of experience to also, you know, push Lagos State at the forefront in terms of sports development. And he's been an impressive one for the Lagos team out there in terms of the reach, and also, you know, the monetary aspect, which is the reward system that comes with this very one, is also motivating. 500,000 naira for the winners, then 300,000 naira for the runner-up, I think is also another source of motivation. But then, taking a look at how difficult it is for, you know, the wheelchair players out there, I think for me, the monetary price need to be increased, you know, to something more reasonable, so that at least it helps them to take care of their need. Because if you take a look at, you know, the players, their coaching crew and all of that, you want to say that 500,000 naira is nothing compared to the efforts, you know, and the dedication they've put into such a program. So I think that the area they need to improve is the monetary reward. Then again, after this, the President Federations Cup is just by the corner. That one will be taking place at Edo State, you know, which for me I think is very, very important. It shows that indeed there is pre-planned programs to keep some of these players, some of these teams are very, very active. It's not just for you to play one competition once in a year, maybe twice in a year. It makes them redundant. You know, they cannot properly harness their potential. But when you organize, you know, games like this, it keeps the team, it keeps the players in shape by this kind of avenue, so that the players will be very, very active. Maybe play for...
Because when you look at the special outlets, you know, you have to, whenever you're planning for them, you have to consider, 500,000 naira, how many of them are going to share? You just begin to wonder, put your heads together. So, but I think that they deserve more. It doesn't matter how long the competition was staged. I think they deserve more, so that we can also encourage them. Because some of them, this is what, even if they have other crafts and you know, activities that keeps them going, this is what they do, and you know, it works out best for them. All right, let's move away from that and let's talk some basketball in the NBA. And of course, it's game one of the best of 7 series in the finals of each of the conferences. And I can tell you that we already know that this year, the winner of this year's NBA will be from Boston Celtic, the Pacers, or we're going to get a winner from Minnesota Timberwolves or Dallas Mavericks. These 4 teams will emerge as the winner of the NBA for this year. But I mean, they cannot get we cannot get this winner without passing through each of the conferences. So they must emerge in their different conferences. They did that this morning, and I can tell you for sure, in the first game of the best of 7 series in the Western Conference, like we saw in the Eastern Conference, where Boston Celtics dismounted, you know, the Pacers a few days ago. Today, it was Dallas Mavericks who got the upper hands against Minnesota Timberwolves. Man, are we going to see another team, you know, who, you know, getting their hands on the trophy like we saw Denver Nuggets, you know, this year? But it's happening. Either of Dallas Mavericks or Minnesota Timberwolves, one of them will play in the finals. But first, Dallas Mavericks have started to show.
Building up to that game, their coach was also talking tough, and he also recognized the quality of their opponent out there before that game, and that tells you that he's been able to do a due diligence to take a close look and study the, you know, their opponent out there. And of course, you understand their team is also very strong as well. But many times they only depend on one man, which is Luka Doncic, to do the miracle for them. And anytime that Luka Doncic is very fit, you expect him to also do the needful by racking up those points out there, putting up a massive rebound and assist to ensure that he is able to carry, you know, the Mavericks, you know, his head, and that is what he did yesterday. Excellent performance from, you know, Luka Doncic for the Mavericks side as well. So for me, it is not done and dusted. A lot is still need to be done. Taking a look at the close margin, you understand how keenly contested the game was yesterday. So, but it's a good one that they have taken the advantage heading to the next game.
It's a good one, taking the advantage and heading into the next game. And so let's see what plays out in the game 2, and it's still going to be Minnesota Timberwolves playing at home against the Dallas Mavericks, and so we'll hope to see. But in this particular game, we saw how they did at 30-27, the end of the first quarter, 29-32. 21-23, and then 22-26. The third quarter and the first quarter. The fourth quarter and the first quarter was the difference. But I wish that Minnesota Timberwolves could have, they would have done a lot to nick that particular one. They so tried. They won the first quarter, lost in the second quarter, but the third quarter and the fourth quarter was really the great one. And then we saw, like I said, Luka Doncic putting up a very massive point in that particular one. Also saw Jaden McDaniels also was very good, and some of the rebounds we saw, clearly Anthony Edwards was the highest for the Minnesota Timberwolves, same for Derek Lively, who also scored 11 rebounds, 7, and then he was able to get that particular one. In the assist, we saw Anthony Edwards posted 8 assists, same with Luka Doncic, and so Luka Doncic was just the man who paraded the side to victory in the early hours of this morning. Away from that, now let's talk the National Sports Festival and the Nigerian version of the Olympic as it's called. I will hold from January 12th to 25th next year in Ogun State. The Federal Ministry of Sports has announced, and this is one of the major decisions taken at the National Council of Sports meeting held in Enugu. The change in date is, I'm wondering why it is so. But we heard earlier that it's supposed to be around June, but now that April.
Organizers, they know the reason why they had to shift it to such date. And coincidentally, the dates actually coincide with the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, where we honor our gallant soldiers, the legions of the World War, the Second World War, even that is the reason for the change in plans, so as to make it more thicker, by collaborating with the Armed Forces Remembrance Day on the very day where they will be celebrating, the remembrance of the fallen heroes out there. But then, like I said, it might not be a good timing for some sport men and women out there, especially, sport enthusiasts, but then that does not take away the beauty. I think they'll be planning for a quite long time for this very one, and trust me, I think Ogun State, they are very, very ready for this very one, because I take a look at the report of the local organizing committee and the main organizing committee where they had their last meeting in conjunction with these two bodies. Clearly tells you that indeed they are pretty much ready. And if you take a look at the caliber of men and women that have been appointed in a very sensitive position as some of the organizers, you want to say yes, they truly have what it takes, because I had to peruse through the list of those names that serves as the local organizing committee and the main organizing committee. These are men of proven integrity, men that have substance. So for me, I think with the shift of dates, possibly we want to say that they know the reason, and of course let's take them by their action and by their word as well, hoping that everything is going to go well, as planned.
Of course, I will hope play out, from now, massive preparation for that particular one. Ogun State, how ready they are. As soon as we get to preview their readiness and look at what is happening around the National Sports Festival, come next year. Let's move away from that now and let's talk the Okpekpe race. And we hear that 100 million naira is at stake for the winner of this year's gold label 10-kilometer road race in West Africa. The Okpekpe race is gaining momentum. 100 million naira, bigger than some league, amount. Just 50 million short of the money that the 38 matches played by 20 clubs in the Nigerian Premier Football League will get at the end of this season. I'm just wondering. Top-notch preparation for me. This alone can even make the participants or those the athletes who are going to be part of this one double motivated, ahead of this Okpekpe race.
Definitely, a lot of money into this very one, and the quality of the Okpekpe race is something that we need to also find a special time to talk about, because they've actually, been holding it down for the good reason since they officially, start this idea. From then, they now have to get the good level. Label right now, moving from platinum label down to the gold label, which is the highest in terms of the world athletic body here. I think for me it has been a massive show, and that is what consistency brings to the table out there. It doesn't matter how you do it, but what matters is that you're able to maintain the standard and even also increase the tempo by also increasing the money out there. It's a massive one, because different athletes will be converging here across the globe down to, Okpekpe, to vie for the prize money. And one thing striking as well, they even went further to also, add other incentive that if, as an athlete, you break the previous record that was set by the previous athletes in the last year, you have a chance of also, going home with a special additional prize money, such as $15,000. Some goes as far as, $3,000, $2,000. So for me, I think it's very, very massive. Well, I want to commend the organizers. Whosoever has been behind the brain of this, I think they need to be given kudos. And other states as well, should also take a cue. We understand River State as well is trying to do something in that regard, but that can they sustain this? It's not just about coming to do a show-off thing, maybe like one-off show, and there it dies down. Looking at what the Okpekpe Rays bring to the table over the years, they've actually maintained consistency, and the standard is also improving every year by year, and that has also gotten us that global recognition. So for me, I think it's an impressive one. Let's hope that everything, will go peacefully, but you expect the likes of the Ethiopians, Kenyans to also continue their dominance, because the likes of Danes, Semua of Benyo, these are some of the notable names that have also made their mark here. Ayalu Wadu as well in the female category, also a very strong contender to also go home with this well one. But I tell you, it's going to be a massive encounter, one that is highly anticipated by athletic body across the globe. So for me, I think it's a plus to the nation and a plus to Okpekpe, the origin of this competition.
Of course, a plus to, the organizers of the Okpekpe road race, and getting to see what is happening there. It is very, very cheering. The Okpekpe 10-kilometer road course stands at 28 minutes and 28 seconds for men. Last year we saw Daniel Benyo, like you said, getting that particular one, and for the women set in 2014 by Ethiopia's Wude Ayalu. These are the the top-notch records that needs to be embellished or maybe recreated as we head to this year's own. Now let's talk tennis as we wrap up the first half of the show. And Emma Raducanu is on the news as she is set to play at the Nottingham Open, in June, that's next month. And when you look at the fact that she has just one, Grand Slam for herself, she has opted to skip next week French Open and focus her preparation on the grass court season, which she missed last year following surgery on both wrists. But what could have been the reason, for leaving a Grand Slam, and at least even participating in the Grand Slam would have been fine? Or is it that she was unable to get a wild card entrance into this particular one? Because I'm just wondering why she decided not to be part of the French Open. Even if she's going to lose, at least have a test of it and and then prepare for the massive one, because it's still the same thing. But she has opted to move on to prepare for the grass court instead of the clay court.
Yeah, for me, I think this is a field that she's very familiar with, and then again, the home support, because it's a Britain, and this one will be taking place there. So you expect that sentiment of her, skipping, the Roland Garros to focus on this very one. And this is not the first time she has also attended, this event. She has made it there twice, getting to the final, beaten by, the compatriot, talking about Harry Dart, in 2021 as well. So for me, I think maybe we want to say that because of the homecoming, that is why she deemed it necessary, to take part in this very one, thereby skipping the Roland Garros. I think for me, it just boils down to what she wants. Just like Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic is this player that doesn't take part in all of the competition, whether it is 2005 points or whether 500 points. He doesn't take part in all of this. He selects. He's very selective about the competition that he wants to take part in, and I think this is the line that the British Emma Raducanu is doing. She wants to skip Roland Garros and use that opportunity to prepare very well for the one that will be taking place in her own backyard out there. So I think this may be the reason, though it is not official yet, but I'm just thinking because this is the home competition, she wants to also do massive thing at home out there because of the home crowd, and you want to also put smiles in the face of the home fans out there. That is the reason, maybe, just maybe, she has skipped out of the Roland Garros to focus on how to prepare and do pretty well at her hometown out there.
Of course, we'll get to see how that pans out. And the one man who is not leaving to chance anything, getting to see if he can get his hand on the French Open is Novak Djokovic. And he himself is doing so well in the Geneva Open. If you look at the way he's going about his business, he secured the win as he's prepared for his 37th birthday. He beat German Yannick Hoffmann, in an uninterrupted match to move into the quarterfinals of the Geneva Open. One man who looks like he's down, emotionally or in terms of motivation, but he's just taking it easy. He's not in the haste. He's not pressurized. He's just doing what he knows how to do best, and somehow it's just working for him. I do not know. These days it's difficult to say whether he's going to win a title in every competition. But one thing outstanding is that Novak Djokovic at his best can be a threat any day, anytime. Although the clay courts are not his best. He's very good when it comes to the grass court and the hard surface. But when it comes to clay court, and the fact that he's also not getting it right this time, injury concern. We saw what happened the last time when bottle was thrown at him, and that affected the way he played, at the Madrid Open. But it's good to get a win when you want to celebrate a milestone in your life, which is his 37th birthday.
Definitely a massive one for Novak Djokovic, and for this season he has not been able to win any major final. Neither has he even gotten to the final of any major competition out there. I mean, this season for him has not been that of smooth sailing for him, but then I think he never gives up, and that is why he continues to push if he's going to lay his hand on a major silverware so far this season. And he become the third player in history to also win 1,100 matches in the ATP Tour after the likes of Jimmy Connor and the likes of Roger Federer. I think he has also been able to etch his name in the annals of history out there. You can't take away what this man has brought to the world of tennis. A 24 times Grand Slam is not a mean feat. I mean, Novak Djokovic truly deserves all the celebration, all the accolade. And coincidentally, yesterday was his birthday. Shortly after the game, you saw the fans out there singing a birthday song for him. It was very, very massive. Even the organizers, they had to even present him with a birthday cake. That is to tell you how much is being cherished, how much honor he received out there, how much smile he put in the faces of tennis followers out there. So for me, I think it has been very, very massive. I hope that this victory is going to also reinvent and revolutionize that gem in him to bounce back again this time around, so that he begin to get back to his feet. Because like I said earlier, for this year he has not been at his best, but I believe with this victory and coincidentally coming at the same day that he's having his birthday, is going to spur him up to even do more for his fans out there. Taking a look at the cheer, the happiness, the joy, the celebration coming from the angle of his fans out there, it could be another moral booster for him this season to also start firing from all cylinders.
Also start firing from all cylinders, and let's get to see how that will go. With that, now we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll still sports talk here on Atlantic Television and Network. Don't go anywhere.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Get ready as Morrison Communications Limited proudly presents Children's Day Celebration 2024 at
La Small Hotel and Resorts, number 9, Rumukalagbo off Waterlines, Pastor, Port Hackett. On Saturday, May 25th, starting at 8 a.m. Inter-school march past competition,
dance competition, drama competition. Parents, teachers, and children alike, don't miss out on the fun with Uncle Clown bouncing castle as we cut the Children's Day cake. Admission is just 2,000 naira naira per child. For participation and sponsorship opportunities, call us now 0806 673 8689 and 0810 634 1777.
This event is proudly sponsored by the Last Mall Hotel and Resort with Atlantic Television Network and 99.5 Wish FM Port Harcourt, Lesuka Event Center, Gate Place Hotel, 8 Ball Hotel and Lounge, Oma Studio, Osgia Table Water. Remember that every child is unique. See you there. This event is managed by Pace Expressions Arts.
Special guest appearance, Hilda Dokubo, Children's Day Celebration 2020.
Alright, welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's still Sports Talk here on Atlantic. This time, we'll start our show from the Nigerian Women Premier Football League Super 6 playoff ongoing there in Bayelsa State. And this year's Premiership reached 3 days with beautiful games that we've seen from the Samson Siasia Stadium in Bayelsa State. Two South teams, Bayelsa Queens and Edo Queens, significantly boosted their title ambitions with victories, while Nasarawa Amazons and Rivers Angels played out a goalless draw in the first match of the day. For Nasarawa Amazons, they continued their search for a first win in the Super 6 after a goalless draw with fellow former league champions, Rivers Angels. In a very cagey affair, the result places Rivers Angels second on the log with 5 points from 3 games ahead of their next encounter against Confluence Queen on Friday. That's tomorrow. National Amazons have 2 points from 3 games and will hope to secure the first win against the informed Edo Queens. So let's talk about Rivers Angels. I mean, at this stage you don't want to draw, but you cannot rule out draw because 3 results in sports, we lose, win, or you draw. But I would have expected them, if you're going for a victory, draw can be very messy for you, especially 2 draws now. I don't think that's a very lovely one, if you ask me, if you truly want to win this competition, because a draw can, I mean, yes, it's better than not losing, but it can, when you have 2 draws in a round-robin encounter where the highest point bidder is determined, I mean, so you have to start praying that your opponent will draw point and your destiny no longer in your hands. But they play 3 games now. They still have 3 more games to play. You think that they can salvage the situation?
Yeah, for Rivers Angels, I think having played 3 games, won one of those games, drawing 2, that is 5 points. They are seated second on the log, right now from that group, which is not a very bad one. But then taking a look at teams like Bayelsa Queen, they've played 2 games and won those 2 games. That is 6 points. For a team that have played 2 games, you are having 6 points. For a team, Rivers Angel that have played 3 games, has 5 points. So I think the gap, there is a gulf in class between Bayelsa Queen and the Rivers Angels, to which for me, I think they need to step up their game if they truly want to, stake a claim in this year's Nigerian Women Football League, especially in the Super 8, because getting a draw is not a bad one, but then if you take a look at your opponent, the way they are going about getting their result, it doesn't matter whether it is 1-0, 2-0. What matters is that you are able to get all 3 points. When you get all 3 points, I mean, it gives you a pole position, because having played 3 games and your opponent have 5 points, and you have played 2 games, you have 6 points. You are even topping your opponent already, having played lesser game compared to them that have played 3. It gives you that confidence going forward, that even if in your next game you get to win or lose or even draw, you are still ahead of your opponent. So for me, I think Rivers Angels, they need to do a lot. Edo Queen as well, they are another team that also is doing pretty well for themselves as well, because You know, there are some of these are one of the strong and traditional teams here when you talk about women, you know, football here in the country. Do Queen, Bayelsa Queen, you know, these are some of the strong teams. Not leaving aside Rivers Angel as well, but I think for this year, you look as though Rivers Angel is not at their peak, but then you cannot write them off. There are still games to come by, and I believe that I still have what it takes to also you know, start getting absolute good result out there, because for me, their display so far hasn't been impressive for me.
And of course, in the other quarters, like we said, South teams, you know, went, you know, fighting yesterday in the field of play, and Bayelsa Queens boosted their chances with victories, you know, in those encounters. But I'll get to talk about that one as time progresses. The Super Six has really been very fascinating, and somehow about Bayelsa Queens, the fact that they're also hosting is going to be another advantage, you know, for them, because when you host, you have the chance of also pushing everything possible to win this particular one. But my own is not about winning the league; it's about quality representation at the level of the continent. So from the top teams now, you know, on the log, who do you fancy, or which team do you fancy, you know, to represent us on the long run in the CAF Women's Champions League?
I think for me, making my selection here is going to be devoid of any sentiment, whether Rivers Angels is this in this part of the climb, because we are pretty much close to Rivers Angels. This is a state team, and this is one that we found. But then I think when it has to do with national team representation, we must also jettison the idea of being sentimental, because you know, when you get to the continent out there, you're going to meet with some of the toughest, you know, opponents out there, and sentiment cannot carry you to go and win some of those traditional teams. We need good and quality representation. Teams like Bayelsa is not a bad representation. Do Queen as well. I think they will have what it takes to be able to represent us effectively. You know, well, so I'm going for either Bayelsa Queen or Do Queen to pick up the ticket to represent us in the continent.
Let's see how it goes, and let's see if they can get the handle. But then a team that wins the title, don't you think that team is strong enough to pick? It doesn't matter what team. If a team wins the Super Six, qualifies from the normal league, and wins the Super Six with whether it's 1 point margin, is that team not qualified enough to represent us? Is that what you're saying?
Yes and no. Because, for example, Enyimba is a traditional team here in Africa, in Nigeria, and they are likened to the Real Madrid of you know, Spain. Now, how do you want to take a look at it? If, for example, we have Enyimba, you know, and possibly maybe Aqua United that is not doing pretty well so far this season, and Aqua United is placed alongside Enyimba FC to represent Nigeria in the continental game. Which will you pick? Will you go for Aqua United just because they won the league, or you are going for a team that has, you know, rich history? You know, because the name and your history speaks volume for you. You might not be that informed, but when you get to meet other continental teams that have heard of your rich history, that fear factor will be there. You know, so for me, I think we need such a team, caliber of quality that have built reputation for themselves to represent the country. Despite the fact that sometimes in football, it's not even that the better side win, it's just that sometimes football happens. There's sometimes, for example, in 2012, when Chelsea Football Club won their first Champions League against Bayern Munich,
they were not better off.
They weren't better off. Bayern Munich has played them totally. Taking a look at the ball position that year, it stood at 88, you know, ball possession, and they even have more chances to have won the game. But then at the end of it all, what happened? You know, Chelsea still went on to win the Champions League. So sometimes it doesn't actually, the outcome of the game doesn't actually entails the quality or the depth, the doggedness of such team are there. So, but like I said, it is what it is in football. That is what happens. But I would prefer for a traditional team representing Nigeria in the continent than going for, you know, probably a lower team just because of your, you know, good performance for just a season.
And of course, let's move away from the Women's League now. Let's talk about the Nigerian National League. As organizers of this year's Nigerian Second-Tier Football League have clamped down on online, you know, streamers who intend to stream matches in the forthcoming Super 8 playoffs that will be staged in Enugu. And is there a reason for this? We know that Enugu, Ikorodu City, Inter Lagos, Madiba FC, Beyond Limit FC, Sokoto United, Nasarawa United, Sporting Supreme, and Economy Warriors are all geared up for this particular one. And a letter has been sent, signed by Ayo, the chief operating officer of the league, revealed that they enter into a partnership with the media outfit to stream, and so no club should stream this particular one.
Yeah, I think it's a lovely idea, a lofty one, because the company that have entered into partnership with the body, if the body actually allows some of these clubs to stream the games online for themselves, they are going to lose customers. And of course, that company that have also partnered with the NNL will also be at loss, because so many persons might not want to stream it, some of those games via their own platform. They would rather go for the club platform to stream the game, and that is going to make them lose a whole lot of money after spending so much to gain the publicity, to gain the visibility, to market their goods and services out there. All of a sudden, club began to individually on their own begin to stream some of those games online. I think it's going to be disadvantage for the company that have also purchased this right to also stream some of these games. So for me, I think it's a right call from the body out there.
The right call from the body, and of course we saw the match, the 32 fixtures in some centers yesterday, and Rivers United secured a very hard-fought 1-0 victory over United Tornadoes at Samuel Ogbumidia Stadium in Benin City. It's a double now for Rivers United. They won United Tornadoes last Sunday, winning them again in the FA Cup. This can be very painful, but it was not an easy one for them yesterday at the Samuel Ogbumidia Stadium.
It wasn't an easy one, but at least they were able to get the victory, which is what matters. It doesn't matter whether it is a half goal or one goal, but at least it matters a lot that you were able to come out top in that very one. Let's hope that they are going to build their confidence going forward in this very one. But they still have a tough challenge, because the likes of Enyimba is still very much around, Kwara United as well, Kano Pillars as well, Plateau, United also knocked out, but then we still have Shooting Stars still very much around. So they still have some of the big names here, in the competition. So it might be a good victory for them, but then it's a wake-up call for them to also buckle up their belt, knowing fully well they are some of the traditional teams, some of the big names such as Lobby Stars, Enyimba, Kwara United, Kano Pillars, even Sokoto United as well is still very much around in this. So I think for me they also need to continue to improve on their game, because having a 1 goal advantage over a team that they should have easily defeated by 3 or even 4 goals, coming up against some of the big teams that I've mentioned here, they are going to even find it more difficult. So in as much as I congratulate them for the victory, but then I still think that there are other areas they still need to improve. Their goal scoring form need to improve. Their defensive pattern of play as well is not helpful, because for me, I'm not, an advocate of those negative antics of football where you sit back and try to catch your opponent on the attack. I think that is not the modern kind of football. So for me, but then in all, it's a big victory for them.
Enyimba are through to the next round of the FA Cup, and no thanks to 2-0 lead from Shooting Stars. Lobby Stars have been ousted out.
Yeah, disappointing one for Lobby Stars, for this competition, looking at where they are coming from, how far they have gone, or to get to this point. At least you expected them to get, to get a victory. But football, it is what it is. You can never also, continue your winning streak every time. That is why we saw Bayern Leverkusen also, being defeated yesterday. So for me, I think it's not a good one for Lobby Stars.
Not a good one for Lobby Stars, and we saw that result. Hamola played the goalless draw with Inter Lagos, but the loss on penalties 4-1 in favor of Lagos. Inter Lagos. Sunshine Stars also qualified against Plateau United. Bayelsa United have also been ousted out. Warri Wolves ousted out by Kwara United. Nasarawa United lost to Sokoto United in the NNL clash there. Doma United lost to Kano Pillars. Let's move away from that now. We heard that the Nigerian Togo clash was postponed due to heavy downpour. And of course, we'll get to see when it will be played. And of course, we also saw that news popping out from Nigeria, where there's a change in the dynamics of the officiating of the game. You know, as FIFA have replaced the officials that will host the Nigeria-Benin Republic clash. These are some of the trending stories at this hour, but we cannot go without letting you know what played out in Europe yesterday. The biggest of them all is the game that was played in Dublin, where we saw Atlanta FC getting to win their first European title in many years against that of the guys from Bundesliga, you know, hoping that they can get their hands on a major European title after 58 years, but that was not to be seen because one team wanted it most, and get to see Ademola Lookman, who is a Nigerian, you know, nicking all the goals is truly mind-blowing. And I don't know how you feel about what transpired yesterday. A lot of sentiment playing out in the both quarters, but somehow it was a win-win for Nigeria if you are a fan of the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Yeah, a win-win for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. But, you know, I was, you know, shifting my attention to Bayern Leverkusen. I was very, you know, sentimental about that very one because, you know, for the Bayern Leverkusen side, we have two Nigerians there. But immediately the lineup came out. I did not see Victor Boniface or Nathan Tella in the starting lineup. Quickly, I switched my allegiance, my gear toward the direction of Atlanta. I've seen Lukman Ademola on the starting you know, role yesterday, and of course he delivered, you know, 3 quick goals. I think very impressive. He's man of the match yesterday. He won it and created a history for himself, becoming the only African player and the only European player to have scored 3 goals. That is a hat-trick in any Europa, you know, competition. As a very massive. We have also etched his name in the annal of history, and the, you know, Atlanta fans can never in their history forget the name Ademola Lookman. Then again, for Gasperini, at 66, I haven't done a lot in the Italian you know, system. When you talk about Italian football over the years, at 66, he become the oldest manager to lay his hand on an European trophy after 64 years of pursuit from Atlanta. I think it was a very massive one and a very impressive display from you know, Atlanta yesterday. You know, the Italian teams, they are always a bone in the neck of any other team, whether English team, La Liga team, League One. When it has to do with the final, especially against Italian team, just be ready for whatever, because they are going to give it to you the way you want. If you need them to play the fluent football, they are in there for you. If you want them to play the kick and follow, they are there for you. If you want them to play the ruggedity kind of the game where you see the likes of you know, Gattuso, they are there. So in every angle, Atlanta was very ready yesterday. Even when they were 2 goals up, they were still playing as if though they
dominated the game from start to finish.
Exactly. And for me, I think Javi Alonso totally got his act wrong yesterday. He was short of ideas. After the second half, after the first half, they went into the tunnel. You know, he go behind the scene to watch some of his pep talk, you know, to the players during the halftime break. But then all of those talk amount to nothing, because Atlanta side, they were very dogged and very determined. And then again, coming at the back heel of losing another important trophy to Juventus over the midweek, they were hurt by that, and I think they had to vent that anger against a Leverkusen side that was short of idea yesterday. So for me, I think it's a big congratulation. But for me, I also think it is another big statement for Ademola Lookman on who wins the African Footballer of the Year, because he has also put himself, you know, there in that list, because he did pretty well in the just concluded African Cup of Nations. He did well for the Atlanta side during their league run, and also did pretty well in the Europa. So for me, I think he's the only man I'm seeing, you know, to get the African Footballer of the Year. The only closest rival to him this time around, possibly Sebastian Haller. That is if Haller get to win the Champions League with Dortmund. But even if he get to win the Champions League with Dortmund, I mean, his goal tally so far, you know, in the league and Europe has been very poor. So I think Ademola Lookman have also made a strong statement for himself on becoming the African Footballer of the Year. All
right, I'll keep that argument in view, and of course, we will definitely come back later this evening, 6 p.m. to really analyze all that played out in the European, you know,